This is the roadmap of how I went from being homeless for 20 months to moving abroad to Thailand and living in a beautiful condo right on the water at the marina. So it all started when I spent literally from the age of 3 all the way up until I was 50, 49, somewhere around there, my late 40s, of having broken heart, being abused, being manipulated. And I always question, why am I having the same relationships over and over again? And they're different people living in different places, but why is it always the same thing? It was like I was on that same merry-go-round. I wanted to get off that merry-go-round, leave that damn amusement park, and go somewhere different. I've always had a connection with God. I didn't understand the connection, but I did know that whenever I had questions, when I sought guidance, all I had to do was ask, and God always gave me answers. And so when I asked, what the hell is going on? Why am I having these same people show up in my life? And I was being taught the law of attraction. And I was being taught about energy. And when I heard about what it is that I'm feeling, that's the energy that I'm putting out, and it's a magnet. And so whatever I'm putting out, that's what's going to be brought in. So for the relationships that I was having, and it didn't matter if it was love relationships or even friends, it was still the same energetic frequency that I was putting out. And so I took a look at not the persons, but the interactions of those relationships. What was going on? On my side, I was performing. I was trying to be the person that everyone liked. And I've never had it like in my core to be a mean person. Even when people were mean to me, I couldn't retaliate it. And God knows that I tried. I've asked, I'm like, why can't I do them like they did me? I would have such a heavy guilt on me that it's not in my makeup. I can't do it. So the best thing for me to do is just leave. But here's the problem with that. I'm leaving. I left situations. I left ended friendships. I even moved cities. And the same thing was always happening over and over again. And so when I asked that question, where did it all start? Where did this all come from? I saw my dad. And when I was about 4 years old, my sister was sitting on my dad's lap. He was in his recliner in our family room. They was watching television. They was watching something on TV. I came downstairs and, she's sitting on one leg because she was 2 years older than me. So if I'm 4, she was 6. And I tried to climb into his lap to sit on the other leg. He pushes me away and said, "There's not enough room." I couldn't understand because as I'm looking, I'm like, I'm not that big. It's not, I was a little thing at 3, 4 years old. So what do you mean there's not enough room? So I went and I sat on the stairs in such confusion. And I remember like my sister rolled her eyes at me. I mean, she was 6 years old. She was just picking up on the energy that he was putting out and on the energy that he was, going against me. So it's like, nah, I'm here and you're not. So I got upset and I just went upstairs and I started clinging to my mom. And those instances was coming up where he would show favoritism to my sister and act like I didn't exist. And as I'm growing up, as I was thinking about those times and seeing what was formed, my response to that hurt and pain was me performing, being the good kid, getting good grades, and being able to do whatever it is I set my mind out to. I was able to do it. And so I was the athlete. And my dad wanted my sister to do athletic things, but she had very chronic asthma from the age of 2. So she couldn't do all the athletic things that my dad wanted wanted her to do. I got that gene. And so, but it didn't matter because if my sister couldn't do it, nobody could do it. It didn't matter if I was good at it or not. If she couldn't do it, nobody did it. And so that made me, my self-esteem. It was like, why I'm not worthy for love? What is wrong with me? And so as I got older, literally the performance part will come up. Got good grades in school, but it was noticed that there was no plan for my future as it was plans for her future, my sister's future, to become an architect. He bought her like the drawing board. She's in grammar school, 7th, 8th grade. And he buys her one of those architect tables and all these things because she had an interest to be an architect. I can't even remember what my interest was. I think first I wanted to be an ER doctor, and then I bounced around because I had so many interests. Even with dancing, I took dance, tap, ballet, modern jazz, and was very good at it. And then I wanted to go to a performing arts school. I was told no. In the 5th grade, I was offered to skip a grade, which means that instead of me graduating 2 years behind my sister, I would have been graduating with my sister. And she put up such a fight, tantrum, kicking and screaming. This big 14-year-old was screaming and hollering. Well, I'm sorry, 13-year-old was screaming and hollering that she did not want to graduate with me. And so this was a big wake-up call for me because they listened to her, a child. Instead of looking at my future, the discussion that my teacher had about, me being in class and all of those things, and he was afraid I was going to get bored with school, which eventually that happened. I got good grades. I got A's and B's throughout time in school. It just, there was no interest because there was no challenge. And he felt that my teacher told my mom, he felt that I needed a challenge in order for me to engage. Well, he was correct. And so for me to see that there was no plan for my future, no support in some of the things that I wanted to do, I was a cheerleader. I played the violin, and I was friends with everybody. So I was like a nerdy fashionista. It was like I was all rolled in one because I had no labels. I was who I was, authentically who I was. But when people would come against that wound would come up. What's wrong with me? How come people can't just accept me for who I am? And it triggered some really, really bad daddy issues. My sister passed away when she was 17. And when she passed away, I was 15. It was like I lost my sister and my dad and my mom in all at the same time. Because when my sister passed away, my dad took it upon himself. It was his fault. He wasn't home at the time she was having a very bad asthma attack. I was the one that ended up trying to give her CPR while my mom was on the phone with the ambulance. She couldn't get her to the hospital, the emergency room. My sister waited too late to tell her she was having an asthma attack. And it got to the point where her lungs filled up with fluid, because every time I tried to do chest compressions, fluids came out of her mouth like something was being clogged or like she was drowning. And so she was DOA at the hospital. So when all of this took place, no one saw that I was there. So when she called her sister, and my aunts came in. My aunts called all of the family. I guess my dad told his friends. I went out and I told my best friend that lived across the street. And I kind of just went for a walk in the neighborhood. By the time I got home, I literally was gone for like 4 or 5 hours. When I walked through the front door, everybody looked like, where she's been? She wasn't here? No one even noticed that I wasn't even in the house. And so that also hurt to the core. I just went to go sit on the stairs, and it wasn't until it was a while that I was sitting on the stairs by myself, where an older cousin came and sat with me to find out how I was doing. And so I felt like I was invisible, like I didn't matter. And when my sister passed away, my mom went into a deep depression. She was basically functioning. And so I didn't get the guidance that I should have got, the support that I should have got growing up. And so I felt abandoned. I felt like I wasn't validated. I needed validation from just like that I mattered. And so as time went on, I found that it was revealed to me as I was asking Source the question of why I keep getting the same people, the same energy through these different people. It was because I was seeking the sense of being worthy, the sense of being validated. And it wasn't from the person that I was with. I was actually seeking validation from my dad, which I never got. Even growing up until the time he passed away, I still never got validation. I never got, I'm proud of you. I never got, even I love you. Sincerely saying that I love you. I've heard it from his sisters. Oh, your dad loved you. It doesn't matter. If I've never heard it come out of his mouth, sincerely saying that to me, it didn't mean anything to me. And so once I really got to the point where I was sick of it and noticing that I was dating and I had been married 3 times, that I married my dad, some portion of my dad, which was a narcissist. He would tell you what he thinks that you need to hear in order to get what it is that he wanted. I peeped the game, and so I will call him out on it. And it's like, that's not going to work with me. I see what you're doing. I didn't realize that I had gifts, clairvoyant, clairaudient, claircognizant. There was things I just knew that he was doing that I never actually had, like, oh, I saw him doing this or whatever. It was just I had a fact of knowing. And so once Source pinpointed where I needed to heal and deep dive, I started doing that and plucking up the roots. And when it got too much for me, I kind of backed off. But I still had that energy in me. So guess what? I was still attracting those same types of people. So it wasn't until 2023, 2022, I left Atlanta and I went back home to do like a reset. My husband had walked out during COVID. I had lost my job. It was like final straw. He tried to destroy me, tried to have me set up where I would lose everything. And thankfully, I had protection. I had something that was always there, so I wasn't homeless. I was able to hustle. We all have a hustle where we'll be able to make ends meet. And so by the time COVID was able, Atlanta was open, I was able to get a job and was able to sustain myself. Husband disappeared. And so as I was working more through those traumas, it was very hard because my dad kept coming up and I really did not want to deal with it. Well, the danger that happened with me, every time Source was bringing it up so I can heal it and release it, I would push it back down. And I would push it back down. And so I call that where your traumas and your pains and everything, I call that you pushing it behind the red door. So I kept pushing everything behind the red door. If it hurt, if it broke my heart, or whatever it was, I pushed it behind the red door. It allowed me to be able to get up and go to work. It allowed me to be around people and not get depressed or anything like that. I pretty much cut off my feelings because I pushed everything behind I pushed it behind the door, deadbolted. I think it had about 25,000 locks on it to keep that behind closed doors. So it doesn't hurt. I thought I was helping myself. You know how you do that out of sight, out of mind? Push it to the side or push it down. Well, here's the problem with that. That energy is still there. So whether it's in the forefront or pushed behind that red door with 25 million locks, it's the energy is still there. The energy is still the magnet. And so when I finally, it came to a point because tower moments was still happening. People were still coming against me, and I'm still trying to figure out why. Why is this happening to me? The choice that needed to be made because I had to move. The choice was get another place in Atlanta, go to Chicago. Well, I chose going to Chicago because it was always my reset. So by the time I came back to Chicago and trying to figure out what was I going to do, you get a job with most of your credentials. Well, I've been a chef for almost 20 years. When I left the job in Atlanta, I was executive chef for Macaroni Grill. And so I had high credentials. It would have been easy for me to get a job. So it was kind of easy because Chicago was still closed when I got here. It wasn't as open as Atlanta. So restaurants weren't as open. So when I started looking for a job, they weren't. I got to Chicago in like November. I couldn't find a job that started until January. So I was homeless. I was couch surfing, and all I knew was like, you got to work, you got to work, you got to put some money in your pocket. You need your own place because the places that I was staying was not stable, and it was some family members, but it just wasn't stable. So I got a job, started in January, moved into my own place. Literally right before my birthday. My birthday's March 1st. So like February 27th or something like that, I moved into my own apartment. It never felt like home. And then my job always felt like it was something I had to do to bring in money. Now, all during this time, Source is still trying to talk to me, trying to teach me. And 85% of the time I listen, but I was tired. And that's where my danger lied, because when I was tired, whether I saw the signs or anything, I just kept telling Source, I am tired. I am tired of being used, abused, manipulated. I'm like all in, most loyal partner that you can have, but when you break my trust, it's pretty much over. I'm like 75% out the door once my trust is broken. And I try to give another chance, but it doesn't work after that because I can't trust you. I don't trust the words that come out your mouth. And if I can't trust you, trust what you're saying. If I can't trust you with my life, my health, or anything like that, there's no point. I might as well be by myself, because if I'm doing it by myself, thinking for myself, taking care of myself, I need to be by myself. And so still, it was tower moment after tower moment. Being scammed, I was scammed. And I'm like, how did that happen? But when you operate out of desperation, you don't think straight. And having that energy of desperation is an energy of lack. And so I'm up here like asking Source, what is going on? And Source is pretty much saying, I'm trying to tell you, you're not listening. And I just kept hearing, you're not listening, you're not listening, you're not listening. And so I became, helping out someone I was seeing was the worst mistake I could have ever done. Trusting someone who was very manipulative, another narcissist. So that made me sit back and say, I got another one. Okay, that means I still got that damn energy still in me because I'm attracting the same person, same type of person, same narcissist, gaslighting, manipulating me. And it got to the point where I lost my apartment. Went moving into a hotel, got injured on a job, tower moment after tower moment. It's like I was falling down a bottomless pit. Like, what the hell is going on? My being injured at work, being told there's nothing wrong with my knee, going to work. Now I'm making my knee worse than what it is, and it's like, what the fuck? Why am I going through all this? It's like, so it's the saying, you're not listening. You're not listening. But in these tower moments, they were triggering me to continue to ask that question, because I never blamed source. There was nothing I never did. I never blamed source because I knew it was me. I knew I wasn't listening. I knew I was being hard-headed. I knew that, especially after the fact, I would see what happened and I would see what I did. So I couldn't blame anybody. The choices that I make dictates the life that I live. And those choices weren't very good ones. And I just kept saying, I'm tired. I'm tired. But it wasn't until I was living in a hotel, working, my hours got cut, so I had to find another job. I was even get people coming at me at work. And I'm like, all I'm trying to do is just work, change my life and try to dig myself out of this. And it wasn't really a hole, but it was surviving. And I didn't want to survive anymore. I wanted to thrive. So what did I need to do to thrive? Then my hours get cut. So it's like, what the fuck? I'm trying to thrive. I can't thrive if my hours being cut. Can't buy groceries like I want to. Thankfully, I worked at a restaurant, so I didn't have to worry about food just on my off days. And so it was still, my injury was getting worse and getting worse. Trying to fight the store, the company that I got injured at work. Nothing was coming through with that. That was a 3-year case. 2.5, 3-year case. No, 3-year case. And it's like, what the? So I had to find another job. It paid me more. The kitchen was smaller, thinking this will help me. But when I noticed that it still was a never-ending cycle, working paycheck to paycheck, because I still had to pay for the hotel. And the hotel was almost as much as it was almost the same amount of my apartment of paying for the month, but I just paid the hotel weekly. And so it's like, something's got to give. Something, what is really going on? And it just got to the point where I'm being harassed at work. People coming at me. My knee is hurting. Everything just piled up till I just said, I quit. And I literally walked out my job. I walked away. And I went to stay with my daughter, thinking, I'm going to get unemployment and be able to make some money, because I've done it before. I've done a reset before, so I'm thinking I just follow the steps for the reset, I'll be fine. That didn't happen. It didn't work the way that I thought it was going to work. And still fighting this case. And so able to receive assistance to eat was a blessing, but I had no cash income. And it was like, it was just one night in tears, asking, what am I going to do? How the fuck did I get here? Tears flowing. And I heard Source say, are you ready now? What else was I going to do? I just surrendered. And I was like, yeah. And the first thing that Source brought up? My daddy issues. But this time I didn't fight. I didn't resist. I didn't push back the red door. I opened the 25 million locks and opened the door. The Source said, we got to clean that shit out. You got to release it all. And it wasn't until my higher self, I call her Big Nikki, she told me that if you deal with this now and release it, that means take that energy out of you and release it, you will never have to deal with this again. What? Why didn't you say that before? Because the programming is, time heals all wounds. And, I've even heard some spiritualists say that you're never going to heal. So if you're telling me I'm never going to heal, why the fuck would I be on this spiritual healing journey in the first place if there is no end? So all of that is a programming, and it's a lie. I'm here to tell you that's a freaking lie. When you heal and release, you never have to feel that way again. It's gone. You won't be hurt by that again. And so as I heard that, it was like a weight lifted for me, because I believed that lie, that I was always going to be in pain because it happened to me. It was never going to go away. That's a lie. Source can heal, but you have to assist in releasing. See, a lot of people going through tower moments, and they're stripping away, and it feel like you're losing a limb, and it's because Source is trying to strip away what don't belong to you, and you're trying to hold on to it. And that's where that pain comes from, because you're trying to hold on what's being taken away from you. When I surrendered and I let go and I started healing, I healed that instance where little Nikki, baby Nikki, was trying to get in my dad's lap. And her broken heart, I healed her broken heart. And then another instance that came up that I got my heart broke by my dad. I was able to go and heal little Nikki's broken heart. And as we kept going through those things, releasing the stronghold that situation caused, releasing the sense of abandonment, releasing the sense of me feeling unworthy, because I am worthy. That was a him issue. That wasn't a me issue. Start understanding and knowing that I didn't need validation from him, because I knew who I am. I know who I am. I know my strengths. I know my powers. I know the things that I can do and my capabilities. And I don't need anybody to say, oh, yeah, you know how to do that. I know how to do that. You ain't got to tell me. And so learning that I validate me, okay, that I was not abandoned. That was a him issue. And I had to release him from operating in the state of mind that he was in at that time, and releasing him unto himself and his journey. Not allowing his energy, his words, his actions to mold and dictate my life anymore. I cut that cord. You don't have that access to me anymore. You don't have that capability in me anymore. And as I began to release, and the things that will come up, even with relationships, I've been engaged 4 times, been married 3, and each one of them was an aspect of my dad, one way or another. And so I had to forgive myself for making the choices that I made based on the experiences that I had. And so I forgave myself and released myself from guilt, shame, of anything that was caused that I placed on me. I released all of that and let all of that go. And so when these tower moments were happening and people and things were just falling away, my mindset was shifting. Source was teaching me along this whole journey and was teaching me how to manifest. The vision that Source gave me was me sitting in the center of the eye of a storm. And Source said, just because shit is happening around you, things are twirling, chaos is happening around you, it is not touching you. Hear me when I say that. And this is what Source said, hear me. It is not touching you. What I want you to do while you're sitting in this eye of the storm, because you manifested yourself into this eye of the storm. Now, I'm going to teach you how to manifest yourself out of it. Don't look at this crap that's swirling around you. Don't listen to the wind and the strong sounds that you hear. Don't listen to the howling and all the other bullshit that's going on around you. Don't listen to that. What you're going to do is envision where you want to be. Envision the experiences that you want to experience. Now, what does that feel like? How does that make you feel? What does it feel like in the middle of experiencing the things that you want to experience? What does it feel like as you're embodying what it is that you want to do? Where do you want to live? All of these things. And Source actually told me I was going to live in Thailand. I knew nothing about Thailand. I'm like, what? Except for what I saw in movies. I did a I did a YouTube search. Start watching all types of videos about Thailand so I can strengthen my visual imagination, because I'm visual. I will paint a whole movie, but I needed something to paint. So that's why I use the YouTube videos as reference. And then to find out, I didn't know what I want. When Source said, what do you want? It was crickets, because I couldn't answer that question. I never thought about what Nikki wants. The programming is, if you start thinking about what you want first, you're selfish. There's something wrong with you. You're supposed to put other people. No, that's a programming. Let me tell you that. That's a programming. And especially when people are trying to tell you you need to think of other people first, that's a narcissistic trait that makes a person tell you you're wrong for thinking about yourself, because they want you to think about them and not yourself. And to have you so focused on them, you don't realize what's happening to you. So I started with self-care, and I needed to love myself. Source was teaching me how to love me. What is it that I want? What did I want? And it's simple. What do you want to eat today? And I will create meals where, what do you want to see today? Do you want to watch a movie today? Also, Source kept telling me to rest, because I was always trying to hustle, trying to put a business together, trying to make some side money so I can I knew that I was leaving my position, but I was leaving the whole career, but I didn't know where. I didn't know what I was going. I just knew I was leaving. Didn't know what I was going to do, so I was trying to put it together. Source said, sit your ass down and rest. That's all I want you to do is rest. And it's in that rest, in that silence, you're being put in solitude. I was put in solitude because you're being separated from the noise, from the distractions, from those that can influence you. It's making your area silent so all you can hear is Source's voice. And in my training and development and activations that Source was taking me through, my visions and feeling, I could feel the breeze. I would turn on the fan and picture myself being on the water. I would have, at the beach in Thailand, I would have water coming to the shore on YouTube playing, and my eyes are closed, and I see myself walking down that beach, listening to the waves, feeling that fan come across my face, that wind, as if I was walking. This is how you embody what it is that you want. And Source asked me, what did I want to see? Kept asking, what do I want? I was in detail about what I wanted to see, the view that I wanted to have when I looked out the window of where I was living, the experiences that I want to have. I asked Source to experience magic and miracles. And I'm open. See, when you understand how the universe operates, when you understand how Source operates, and I would say Source, I would say God, I would say Spirit, all same thing. The universe, all it means the same thing to me. Whatever resonates with you, all roads lead home. Don't get caught up in the programming that one religion is better than the other religion, one don't know. No, all roads lead home. There is a higher spirit. There's a higher source. There's a higher frequency, energy, consciousness that is in everyone and is everywhere. So if you read the scriptures, then they say that God is all-knowing, everywhere, in everything. See, the religions, and not just Christianity or the Bible, our religions have about 85%, 90% of the truth, because that you resonate with that. That's a connection that you receive. There's a 10, 15% manipulation. That's the programming. But when you decide to know the truth, because the scriptures say, the one that I've read, I was an ordained minister and for married couples. So I understand the scriptures. I read the Bible from cover to cover a few times. I've even read the Apocryphas. And when you put all of that together, you can understand why they hid some of those things. But the truth you know will set you free. There's some translations that have the truth will set you free, but the actual translation is the truth you know will set you free. Because there's a lot of truth that's being told, but if you don't believe it, it doesn't make a difference to you. It doesn't change your life, and it doesn't set you free because you don't know it. So as I was going through those tower moments and I was being stripped away and surrendering and allowing Source to guide me wherever it is, like even YouTube, I didn't do YouTube. That's how I knew it was Source and it wasn't me. The Source said, go to YouTube. Look up the video, first video that you see, watch that video. And it was a young lady, Energy. She's on Instagram, It's Energy. And I watched her pick a card. It answered, I had about 25 questions, and I promise you, the card that I picked in her pick a card video answered all of them. And as I was learning more and learning more, I quantum leaped. I jumped. I was remembering more and more about my gifts, more about who I am. And as you're remembering more about who you are, timelines collapse. Because when you make a decision, it lines up with a timeline as a result from that decision. So if you don't like the timeline that you're on, make another decision. You'll jump timelines. See, spirituality is not as difficult and as hard as the world makes it. Even spiritualists try to fear you, fearmonger. That's the same thing, that's a programming. Because the Matrix program do the same thing. Try to fear you into doing what they want you to do. When you trust in the voice that you're hearing, not second guess it, not why are you know in your gut whether it's Source or not. Because Source will let you know if it's Source or not. Don't second guess. Don't try to talk yourself out of it. Your ego will pop in and say, well, how you know? Well, last time you started believing it and then this fell apart was because Source started talking and then you jumped in and changed the whole thing around. I surrendered completely. And I had enough faith. And I have a lot of faith, even during the time where I lost everything. The roof over my head, my car, the ability to buy whatever it is that I want to buy. When I lost it all, I never lost faith in Source because I knew something was happening. I knew that all the things that my capabilities wasn't given to me in vain. I knew that the visions that I saw wasn't to tease me and say, "Nan, you can't have none of this. I'm going to show you, but you get that's not how Source worked." And I knew this. I knew my connection with Source. I knew Source was within me because I felt Source in my core. And I held on to that. No matter what I saw around me, sometimes I had to close my eyes so I wouldn't see the shit. And many sleepless nights. But as I was going through that and surrendering and releasing, and every time Source brought something up, I looked at the lesson. What was it I'm supposed to learn? My boundaries got stronger. My manifestations, I started being more specific. And not just be specific and write it down what I want. I became what I want. I felt it. Every feeling, every time. And I didn't have to read it. Well, as I'm putting it pen to paper, that's coming from the imagination, flowing it into the 3D, putting on paper. That's only step one. But you look at it and start embodying it. It's how you feel. How does that make you feel? Does it make you feel good? I felt so at peace in that imagination. in that vision, I felt so much peace. It got to the point that when I start feeling some of the chaos and the bullshit that was happening around me, I instantly went astro projected right into that place where on the timeline where I was at peace, where I was living in Thailand, where I was having retreats and healing retreats and speaking light language, singing light language. Source told me I was going to sing and have songs that activate people. I'm like, what? And I was going to write, what? I know how to do, be quiet. This is what I was telling myself. And follow the flow of source. And I did that. And the more that I literally felt like I was in timeline. I was in Thailand. I felt so disconnected to where I was. There was some days I would wake up and I'm spinning because my environment did not match what I was feeling. And when you're in a place that's called the void, the in-between, when I entered the void, I entered the in-between, I had no connection to where I was. At this time, I was sleeping in my friend's basement. And I would wake up disoriented, like I'm not even supposed to be here. Why am I here? And I could feel where I was going. I could feel Thailand, like right at the door. But I wasn't there yet. And so in that confusion, Source showed me how to be unconfused, how to get clarity. And it's in the clarity where I found that I was stronger than I thought I was. I had released more than I was aware of. Source was showing me my boundaries weren't shit anymore. My boundaries were stronger. No is a complete sentence. That I was able to be comfortable with the wealth that I saw in my visions. Not to be nervous about it, not to think, oh, well, am I going to mess it up? Yeah, and I felt that. I felt that all the things that I was being shown, it was the trauma of not feeling worthy was like, oh my goodness, am I worthy for that? Why is this given to me? And Source would say, why not? And I would really have to pause and think that because I had no reason for the why not. What reason I should not have all the things that I've seen. I had no reason because I'm not going to harm people with it. I have a heart for people. I operate out of love, even when sometimes I don't want to. I don't want to do that, but it still automatically happens. And so love is the highest vibration. And because I operate out of love, despite what people have done to me, I know the universal laws. And you can say it's the law of karma, the law of you reap what you sow, cause and effect. When you do things to other people, it does come back on you. And so understanding that, I knew I didn't have to retaliate. You're dumping a bucket of coals on your own head when you do something wrong to someone else. So, karma's a bitch and she's my best friend. She's your best friend too. When people come against you, you don't have to retaliate. You don't have to do, oh, well, I need to get my lick back. You don't, because the universal laws will get that lick back and it's going to be like tenfold. So they can get the lesson. You don't have to do anything. You just move forward, look at what happened, take the lesson from it. I mean, if your boundaries weren't shit, you need to tighten that up. If you were seeing red flags and you was ignoring them, these are the things that you look at like, well, what was my part in this situation? Why did I allow it to go as long or as far as it did? Because you didn't stand your ground. 10 toes down. Protect yourself. You're not alone. You might sometimes in solitude you're by yourself, but you're not alone. Oh man, I had my ancestors, my grandmother, my mom, my aunt, my sister would show up, even my dad would show up, some foolishness. And just a sidebar, every ancestor that has passed away does not have your best interest at heart. Understand this. And it was rang so clear to me is that I was in a mediumship class. I can do mediumship. And we were just, like flexing your muscle. When you go to the gym and you want biceps, you keep lifting that weight. Well, connecting with loved ones, you have to keep doing or try to do it. And it actually happened so easy for me. It kind of shocked me. And so there was someone in the class who was doing a reading for me. And it was in that reading that I wanted to connect with my mom, but the instructor, she was saying, well, your dad's trying to come through too. So, and I was like, all right, well, whoever comes through. Well, 3 out of the 4 ladies, well, 2 out of the 3 ladies got my dad. So I'm like, okay, let's hear what we got to say. Well, one lady, she was just so flabbergasted about what the things that she heard. And this was just confirmation that everybody who passed away does not have your best interest at heart. She told me that he says, tell her, which he was saying, tell me, that I acknowledge the things that I did to her. But she don't have to forgive me, but I just want to let her know that I acknowledge what happened. And I said, it sounded about right. That was the attitude he had when he was alive. So nothing changed. Lo and behold, what's going to happen is he's going to have to repeat. So he's going to come back and have to repeat that stuff. So if you don't get it right this time, you're going to have to come back and do some repeat. And it's not saying that it might be easier. It's going to be worse because you didn't catch it when it came up. So if things come back around, it get a little bit louder. It get a little bit, see this? Do you see it? Do you see it? Knocking on the door like 50 police at your door. Boom, 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 boom. And you still ignoring it? Okay. You might have to come back and hit repeat until you get it. And so looking at the lessons and taking the things out, and also showing you're stronger than you think you are. I was stronger than I thought I was. Even my voice was suppressed. And to come to find out that why, not just in this lifetime, my previous lifetime, my voice had been suppressed. Because I'm supposed to speak. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Listen to me. Miss Nikki here is not going to tell you no lie. I don't sugarcoat shit. I will hold your hand and send you so much love as I tell you the truth. Why? Because the truth will set you free. And I just want you to be free. Free in your mind, free in your heart, free in your finances, free in everything that concerns you. So in learning how to manifest, I had that tower moment and being able to quantum leap and being able to jump timelines. I tell you now, when I learned how to jump timelines, and remember I said, in order to make, jump timelines, all you have to do is make a different decision. Each timeline, when you make a decision, it has the repercussions, the consequences, or whatever you want to call it, the results of that decision is on that timeline. You want a different result? Change your mind. You jump timelines. If you can also collapse timelines or condense timelines because it's up to you. You are creating your reality. You go as fast as you decide to. Your healing is as fast because now listen, source does not operate on time. The 3D, us here on this earth realm, we operate on time. So that's why time heals all wounds is some bullshit because time doesn't exist. It's an illusion. So when you understand that, now when something comes up that you need to address, now you know what questions to ask. Oh, wait, what is it that I would learn from here? Oh, shit, okay. I saw these red flags and I let them slide. I kept letting them slide. I didn't speak up for myself. I allowed myself. So why is all of this happening? Get to the core, to the root of the matter. Is it that you're feeling that you feel like this is all you're worth? Because that was one of my things. All the shit I was going through, I felt like, well, I'm going through it. This must be all that this is what's for me. Not until Source was like, what's the song? I mean, Gen X is, you know what this is, that gang bullshit. That's what pretty much what Source was saying. Quit lying to yourself. Kali Ma. If you know Hindu goddess Kali Ma, she supported me as I was going through that healing process. She is a strong babe, I tell you. And her presence was like, I am not finna let you lie to your damn self. She did not. She did not let me lie to myself, did not make up no excuses. Kali Ma helped show me my strength. She helped me understand the power that I have, because Kali Ma was getting a bad rap. She had a temper. But, well, they said she had a temper. She was protecting her child. And they were playing with her. They fucked around and found out. They were playing with her, and she just lost it. And I understand that, because that's what happened to me. Poking the bear. People saying, oh, you so nice. You so sweet. You're not real. Slow to anger. I was very slow to anger, thanks to my mom. Simply, she said, and this is how quick you can change your mind. Having an altercation with so-called best friend at the time, she kept trying to fight me, and I'm like, I don't fight. Just leave this alone. Well, I knew I'm heavy-handed. My brother used to call me Amazon. I've been from sixth grade. I was like 5'6", 5'7", in the sixth grade. So I was one of the tallest kids in class. I'm 5'8" now, and very strong. My brother called me Amazon because I'm writing with a pencil, and literally I broke the pencil in half with these two fingers. And he looked at me, he's like, do you know how hard it is to break a pencil? He tried to take the pencil with two hands, one of my other pencils, with two hands, and it took a lot for him to break it. And I'm looking at him like, I was just writing very hard. Literally, I was angry when I was writing. And so the strength came through, and I broke the pencil as I was writing. And so he nicknamed me Amazon. So I knew I had, I was heavy-handed. And I kept telling the girl, like, quit, you stop. I don't want to fight you. And then it just got to the point, it was like, okay, you want this? You done now fucked around and found out. And I popped her once. She tried to swing on me, I ducked, she missed, and I swung back. And I don't know if you noticed, like one of these TikTok things, and when it was in this moment, I knew I fucked up. That's the look she had on her face. And I told her to stop. She kept coming at me, trying to swing at me. And maybe she got punched like 3 times. And by this time, her legs are noodles. She kept trying to get up off the ground. And I just said, stay down, leave it alone. And she climbed up me like she was trying to swing. So, I had about her little collar, and I drew back, and this was lights out. My mom jumped in front of her, and literally my fist stopped in my mom's nose. Because I didn't hear, she said, you didn't hear me calling your name? I'm like, I saw nothing. Only thing I saw was red. That's the true thing. When people said all they see is red, all I saw was red. And I heard nothing. I just wanted to stop. And I felt like that last punch was going to make it all stop and go away. My mom told me, you never let anybody push your buttons to the point where you're going to lose your life. That stuck with me. So I was even more slow to anger. But I think I was a little bit too slow. So all of them tower moments, I found out where the end point was. My end point was too far away because I allowed too many things, too many red flags to come up. So as you're learning through these instances, these experiences, Now I'm going to hold your hand when I say this with so much love and compassion. Your soul created every experience you went through in your contract. Now, don't come at me in these comments talking about why would I ever do this like that. I'm not going to answer that question. It's to trigger you to remembering who you are, remembering your strength, remembering your power, to activate the vibration and the frequency you're supposed to be on. Not where you are, you're supposed to be on. And so that's why it's vital as you're going through these tower moments to find out, to investigate what happened. Not on them to blame them or this is what they did to you, because no one can do anything to you unless you allow it. So why was it allowed? What was in this instant and experience? And I'm hearing SA. Okay, I was SA'd as well. I was stalked, I was attacked, I was date raped. I understand all of that. That happened. What did I learn from that? It was a lot of things that I was careless about, a lot of red flags that I saw and ignored. I had every opportunity to get off of that path because of the red flags and the things and the alarms and the bells and whistles that was going off. I ignored them. And I ignored them because I didn't feel like I was, this was as good as it was going to get for me. It was even one small moment that even when I was date raped, I felt like I deserved that because I didn't listen. And no, I didn't deserve it. But it was showing me I'm more powerful than I think I am. So that energy of all that happened to me, being SA, being first marriage was ended in domestic violence. Second marriage was manipulated, cheated on, and all of those things. Each one of those instances was setting my boundaries. And in my third marriage, I just completely settled, period. There was no love in that. And I can honestly say that now, that there was no love in that marriage when I entered. I settled because, he likes me, so this should be fine. This was that self-worth, needing to be validated, telling me all the things that he thought I wanted to hear. And actually, I gave him the blueprint to manipulate me. So ladies, or even gentlemen, don't answer the question, what is it that you're looking for in a partner, in a man, in a woman? Don't answer that question. When the answer is, I'll let you know if I see it. That's it. Because I gave him the complete blueprint, A to Z, 1, 2, 3, all the cliff notes, everything of how to manipulate me. And he played it to the T. And so learning all those things of what I did activated me, set my boundaries, let me know that I am more powerful than I think I am. It triggered my spiritual gifts. So I started seeing things that they were doing before that happened, especially in my dreams. They will come true. No surprise, because I saw it already. I can hear what's going on. Sometimes hear what people are thinking. So might be quiet, might not be saying anything, but I know a whole